Hello and welcome to Craft with Sarah and day 18 of the Christmas Craft Countdown, where I'm sharing 20 festive-themed Cricut projects in 20 days. Half of the projects are designed by me and half are guest designer projects from some of my crafting friends. Today's project is by Amy Romeo Crafts, and it's these beautiful gingham-inspired faux leather Christmas ornaments with heat transfer vinyl detailing. Amy is a lifelong crafter and jewelry maker who loves to create and share her original designs, projects, and tutorials with the worldwide crafting community. Amy has dabbled in many creative pursuits over the years, but her current favourites are Cricut crafting, laser cutting, and sublimation. Her passion for teaching and sharing is evident on her crafting blog, amyromeo.com, and her YouTube channel, Amy Romeo. These decorations will look fabulous on your Christmas tree, and I love the extra details from the heat transfer vinyl. If you're new to cutting faux leather with a Cricut, keep watching to find out how it works. Let's get started! The files for this project are free for the next 24 hours. Here's how to download them. First, register a free ticket for the Christmas Craft Countdown at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas23. Click any of the buttons on the page and enter your name and email to register. If you're already registered, check for an email from me with subject line Christmas Craft Countdown ticket information, or any of the other emails from me that you have been sent throughout the countdown. Can't find them? Check your junk or spam box to see if they've gone there by mistake. These emails contain the link to view the countdown projects and download today's files. Scroll down the page to find today's project. Click the button to start the files automatically downloading to your computer or mobile device. Each download is only available for free for 24 hours after it goes live. If you've missed some, check out the Instant Access Bundle at craftwithsarah.com/Christmas23 bundle, which gives immediate and ongoing access to all of the files from the Christmas Craft Countdown, plus loads of extra bonus designs. All downloads come in zip folders. You need to unzip them before you can upload the files into Cricut Design Space.
Hi, I'm Amy Romeo of the jewelry making and craft blog amyromeo.com, and I'm so honored to be a part of the Christmas Craft Countdown this year. In this video, I'll be showing you how to make these really pretty faux leather ornaments using heat transfer vinyl and a Cricut. So if you're ready to learn how to make this project from start to finish, let's get started. Let's go over the tools and materials we'll be using to make these faux leather Christmas ornaments using our Cricut. I'll be using the Cricut Maker, but you could also use the Maker 3, the Explore Air 2, the Explore 3, the Cricut Joy, or even the Cricut Joy Extra. And that's because I cut faux leather using the standard fine point blade that's included on all of these machines. Now the faux leather that you can use either comes on sheets or rolls, and you can use solid or prints and patterns. It's really up to you. And then we'll be decorating the faux leather with some heat transfer vinyl. I'm using both some solid and some glitter heat transfer vinyl. Again, the choice of colors and types of vinyl is up to you. I'll use my Easy Press Mini to apply the heat transfer vinyl to the faux leather. I like to put it on the low setting, which is that first green line, but you could also use a traditional Easy Press set to about 265 degrees Fahrenheit. I'll be using my Easy Press pad to protect my surface when I'm pressing, and then also a cover sheet. This is a Teflon sheet that I've cut down to size, but you could also use butcher paper or parchment paper. You'll need a weeding tool of some kind, some blue painter's tape to help us get good cuts with our faux leather. I'll be using this to tape my faux leather down to a purple strong grip mat for cutting. If you're using either of the Cricut Joy machines, the green Joy size mats are just fine. I'll also be using a green standard grip cutting mat to cut the heat transfer vinyl. It'll also be good to have some craft scissors on hand and then some kind of ribbon to hang your ornaments. And then I'll be using some fabric glue to glue the front and the back of the ornaments together. And you could use this, or you could use a craft glue like Bearly Art Glue. I'll show you a really important tip to help get the faux leather ornaments nice and flat and glued very well together. So it's less about the glue and more about a trick that I will show you when we get to the gluing step. So let's hop into Design Space and get our files prepared and ready to cut. So starting with a blank canvas in Cricut Design Space, you'll click on Upload, and then upload image, and you'll browse to where the unzipped SVG files are for this project. You can select them one at a time to bring them all into Design Space, or just choose one to start with. It's up to you. And you'll see the preview of the project here in the upload screen, and then just click on upload. And I have all 3 of my files here, so they will all cut and be assembled the exact same way. So I'll show you how to make one of them now, but just know that all 3 of them, you'll follow the exact same process for the design of your choice. So I've clicked on my design, and I'm going to click Add to Canvas. And what we see here is the basic shape of the ornament. The red layers are faux leather, and there's a front and a back, which we will glue together. Then the other elements you see are all heat transfer vinyl. So we have that lighter gold top for the ornament, the brighter gold that I'll use for the stars. Both of these I'll cut from glitter, but again, you can choose the vinyl that you prefer. And then the white will just cut from regular heat transfer vinyl. So we don't need to change the size of this ornament. I've actually sized it appropriately for a tree. You're welcome to change the size if you'd like by dragging this little arrow up or down, or changing the size in the size box. But I'm going to leave the size as is, so I'll click the Make It button. And I'm cutting my materials on a mat. And the first step I do is I go through each mat and I toggle that mirror button on, because faux leather and heat transfer vinyl cut in reverse. If you happen to be using permanent vinyl instead of heat transfer vinyl for this project, you can absolutely do that. You just would not mirror those permanent vinyl mats. Only heat transfer vinyl and faux leather mats will be mirrored. And then what I like to do is just drag my shapes away from the edges and away from each other just a little bit. I'll do that for each layer. And I always like to cut the faux leather layer first, so I'll click back on that one. On this mat, I'll like to make a note of what size material I should put down on my mat to cut out my shapes cleanly. And it looks like here it'll be a piece of faux leather about 6 inches wide and 5 inches tall. I'll click continue. For the faux leather mat, I'll be using the faux leather paper thin setting with more pressure. If you don't have this setting bookmarked as a favorite like I do, you can click on Browse All Materials and search for it. If you're using the Explorer Air 2, you'll need to turn your dial to custom before you can locate this material setting. For the vinyl layers, I suggest you use the vinyl cut setting recommended by the manufacturer of your chosen vinyl. For the white layer, I'll be using just the vinyl setting with default pressure. And for the layers I'm cutting from glitter heat transfer vinyl, I will use the glitter vinyl setting. And because I'm using a thicker glitter vinyl, I will repeat the cut one time. So let's go back over to my overhead camera and we'll cut out our mats and assemble our ornament. I've already trimmed my faux leather down to that size I noted in the mat preview screen, and I'm just going to place it pretty side down on a purple strong grip cutting mat. I'll press it down well with my hands so it really sticks nicely to that purple mat, and then I'll use some blue painter's tape to tape all around the edges. I like to use blue painter's tape instead of masking tape so it doesn't leave any residue on the mat or the faux leather. We already have our material selection of faux leather paper thin with more pressure ready to go, so we will just load the mat and begin the cut. When the cut is complete, I always recommend using a sharp weeding tool to check and see if the cut went all the way through. And to do that, I just use the weeding tool and lift up on a corner and see if the cut is complete or if there are any little edges or pieces that seem to be still stuck down to the material. And I do that because you can repeat the cut for your faux leather as long as you have not unloaded the mat. So this cut looks good, but if you needed to rerun the cut, you could do that by pressing the cut button again. On the Cricut Joy, the option to rerun the cut will be on your screen in Cricut Design Space. I'll go ahead and unload the mat and remove the shapes. And remember to pop out that little hole for the top of the ornament. And here we have a front and a back of our ornament. And if necessary, you can use some small curved scissors to trim up any little fuzzies on the edge, but these look good. So now I'll return to Design Space and I'll begin to cut and weed all of my vinyl mats. So I finished cutting and weeding all of my vinyl layers, and it's time to heat press the vinyl onto the faux leather and then glue our ornament together. So I have my Easy Press Mini set on the low setting. Again, you could use a regular Easy Press set to about 265 degrees Fahrenheit. So I have my ornament, and it's important to refer back to the design in Design Space because you will want to layer your vinyl on the ornament first before pressing anything down, just to be sure that everything is going to line up correctly. So I'm just placing the stars first, and you'll see when you place your star layer that your text layer fits neatly inside. So now that I've got that set up, I'll remove my text layer and I'll begin by pressing my star layer. So I'll cover with my little cover sheet. Again, you could use butcher paper or parchment paper. And I'm just going to press the vinyl layer onto the faux leather layer for about 5 to 10 seconds. Now I'm moving my Easy Press Mini around. It's just force of habit. If you're using the traditional Easy Press, you would just set it down. There's really no need to move it back and forth. After you remove the cover sheet, try and keep the faux leather flat and carefully peel away the cover sheet on the vinyl layer. If when you're peeling the vinyl lifts up, then just place the cover sheet right back down and press for a few more seconds. But that looks good. And now we'll line up our text layer right in that empty spot. And we'll repeat pressing. That looks good. And lastly, we'll put on the little ornament top layer. There we go. So our faux leather is warm and I would like it to cool nice and flat. So I'm just going to place it here underneath my heat pressing pad for just a moment to let that cool flat. And I mentioned that I have a trick for getting the glued faux leather ornaments to be nice and flat with an almost seamless edge, and we're going to use a heavy book for that part of the project. Also, we'll have some color coordinated Sharpies here, and I'll show you after we glue the ornament, if you don't like the white edge or the faux leather showing, you can use a color coordinated Sharpie just to color in that edge and make your ornament look more finished and professional on the edges. So my ornament has cooled, it's nice and flat, and now we're just going to glue the front and the back together. I wanted to mention that I always press the vinyl onto the faux leather before I glue, because if you glued first and then pressed the vinyl with heat, the glue underneath could bubble and it could ruin your faux leather and your finished project. So I always press vinyl first and then glue. I'm just using some of that fabric glue, as I mentioned, and all I need to do is put glue all over the back of one half of the ornament. And you want to get close to the edge, but not all the way to the edge. When we press the ornament together, the glue will naturally seep a little bit closer to the edge, and that will help us get a nice seal. So now I'll just take my other ornament half and place it on top of my glued half. And you want to take a moment just to really carefully line up the edges, because this is how your ornament will dry. You can use your fingers or a damp paper towel just to wipe up any glue that might seep out of the edges, but that looks good. Here's that white edge that I was mentioning. Also, you can see how the faux leather, even though there's glue in between, the edges are sort of open, and that will disappear after we press our ornament for about an hour underneath a heavy book. So we'll go ahead and do that, and then we'll come back and I'll show you how to tie the ribbon onto the top of the ornament. So the ornament has had time to dry, and as you can see, the edge is really nice and tight. The seam is almost completely closed, and it looks like one solid piece of material. And as I mentioned, you can use that color coordinated Sharpie to just color on the edges. I like to do that after I've glued. You could do it before if you wanted to. You just go all the way around to sort of finish off that edge. And then here I have a thin craft ribbon. This one is 3/8 of an inch, 9.5 millimeters. And all I want to do is thread this through. You could either just loop it through, but I like to put both ends through the hole. Let me line those up and then thread them up here through the loop. And then I can just tie this off in a knot up here, or you could make a bow. And this is what all 3 of the finished ornaments look like. I hope you enjoyed this project and you're going to try faux leather crafting yourself. If you did like this project and you want to learn more, I have so many great tutorials on my YouTube channel that I would love for you to check out. I have faux leather earrings, keychains, Cricut Design Space tutorials, jewelry making tutorials, resin crafts, sublimation, and more. So just hop on over to YouTube and look for my name, Amy Romeo. That's the name of my channel. And I would love it if you would subscribe and hit that bell notification so you know whenever I post a new video. And thank you so much for watching, and I hope you enjoy the rest of the event.
I hope you enjoyed this video on how to make these faux leather Christmas tree decorations with HTV detailing. If you did, please give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to my YouTube channel for loads more Cricut crafts and festive fun. Don't forget, the link to get the cut files for this project is craftwithsarah.com/Christmas23, but they are only free to download for 24 hours after this video goes live. I hope to see you tomorrow for day 19 of the Christmas Craft Countdown. Thank you so much for watching. Bye!